In the late 14th century, a new dialect of English started to emerge in the area in and around London. It was based on the East Midland dialect and associated with what became known as Chancery Standard, which was an attempt to standardise the spelling of the language for official documents and things like that. Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, the most famous of all medieval literature, is an example of this emerging London dialect, which went on to become the basis for early modern English. One that April, with his surest sought, the drought of March hath pierced to the root, and bathed every vine in sweet liquor, of which virtue engendered is the floor. One Zephyrus eke with his sweet breath, his spirit hath in every holt and heath the tender croppes, and the youngest son hath in the ram his harp course run, and small fowlers maken melody, that sleeping all the night with open eyes, so pricketh him nature in her courages. Then longing folk to go on pilgrimages, and Palmares for the second strongest rondes, to ferne halways, coth in sundry Londes, and specially from every sheer's end of England to Canterbury thy wend, the holy blissful martyr for to sake, that him hath holpen, one that I have sake. There's so much that could be said about Chaucer and the Canterbury Tales, but I'll just focus on a couple of points here. The first point is related to the content. Chaucer has been interpreted in different ways over the centuries, as a storyteller, as a moralist, a social commentator, a proto-feminist, religious reformer, humanist, and so on. But perhaps the prevailing modern view of Chaucer is as a satirist. Now, these opening lines of the Canterbury Tales, for example, can be seen as a simple description of the beauty and charm of an English spring, followed by the introduction of people in the form of pilgrims moving through this natural landscape. Or they can be seen as a kind of joke. The weather's warming up. All of nature is showing signs of increased fecundity, and people are going on pilgrimages. On one level, that's bathos, anticlimax. If the reader thought Chaucer was going to say that romance is in the air, well, they got it wrong. But on another level, it's perhaps a subtle suggestion that people's motivation for going on pilgrimage was not always primarily religious. It's hard to know what Chaucer's broader intentions were because the tales are incomplete. Each of the 30 or so pilgrims was supposed to tell 2 tales, one on the journey to Canterbury, the other on the return journey to London. But there are only 24 tales, and not all of those are complete. That makes it hard to judge the level of irony in these opening lines. However, scholars like Derek Pearsall, Jill Mann, Helen Cooper and Paul Strom have demonstrated fairly conclusively that Chaucer is frequently satirical. And while the nature of the satire in these opening lines may not be completely clear, it's a pretty safe bet that there is some level of irony going on there. The other point I'll raise here is related to Chaucer's language. In this passage, as is usual in Middle English, words which in modern English have an A sound are pronounced with a long I sound. So the word which today we pronounce as vein was in Chaucer's time pronounced as vine. and they was pronounced as thy. And perhaps if you've heard a Londoner speaking with a Cockney accent, you'll have heard the same pronunciation. Famously, in the movie My Fair Lady, Eliza Doolittle struggles with the pronunciation of "the rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain," saying instead,
"The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain."
In that respect, the Cockney dialect spoken in London today is closer to the English spoken in London 700 years ago. They still pronounce words like rain and vein as rhine and vine, just as Chaucer did. If you're interested in Early Middle English and you want to find out more about it and listen to more examples of the pronunciation and so on, you can find plenty of recordings online. Some of them perhaps better than mine and some of them maybe worse. Remember, we can't know for sure exactly how people spoke in those days. So, like my other recordings of Middle English, this is an approximation. Thank you for listening. The Anno Sensei channel covers a wide range of educational topics, mainly focusing on English language, literature and history. If you enjoyed this presentation, don't forget to subscribe and, if you're able, sign up as a channel member.